Hi, this is Mike. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about the generic download stream and how we can use that in BizTalk. So if you're watching this video, you're probably partway through my blog post, and I've talked about how I changed the download component I implemented for a CRM solution to download data in a send pipeline. And what I wanted to do was make it more generic so we could download other types of data. So what I've done here is in this C# solution I'm going to demonstrate how I'm going to use the same stream to download data from CRM and from Azure Blob storage. So if we take a look at the appfx.download stream project here, we've got our generic download stream component, and it's quite similar to in the original CRM demo. And you can see here we've just got this method where we're going to basically read through, but when we construct the stream we're going to pass it an instance of an iDownload object, which it'll basically, within the read bit, when it needs to get more data, it'll call out to the downloader and say, and basically go get next, which it'll return a byte array that'll be used by the stream to populate the queue of bytes it's going to be writing as the stream gets processed by BizTalk. So what we've done here then is we've made this stream component just a little bit cleaner, a little bit more generic, and passed in this generic iDownload interface. The interface itself has a single method called getNext, which returns a byte array. Now if we go to the CRM implementation, this code here is very similar to what I had originally. So I've got my CRM downloader, which now implements the iDownload interface, and when we construct it we set up some properties such as the connection string, our fetch XML request data, prefetch count, so how many records we get, and and stuff like that. And then we've got this method called getNext, which is the implementation of the interface, and that's going to prepend the data we download with something like an XML start tag, so we know that's the start of the download, and then it's going to read through the data, populating it with data it's retrieved from CRM, and then at the end it's going to stick on an XML close tag so we know it's the end of our download. And what it's basically going to do is call out to this getNext page from CRM, which does the request to get an amount of data from CRM, and we use the fetch count to tell CRM how many records we want back, and we'll keep going and we'll keep making calls out to CRM after each chunk of records until we get the indicator back that there's no more records to return. So that method here gets called by the getNext method when it wants to call out to CRM, and I'm not going to go into the flattened XML format. That was a CRM specific thing where we just bend the data a little bit so that the data coming out of CRM is a little bit nicer to work with. But the key thing is really this downloader and the generic stream. So if we have a look in the CRM tests, we can see the streamed CRM download allows us to create our downloader. We specify the fetch count, the start and end element, and then we create our generic download stream here. And then after that I've basically, just for the test purposes, I've created a file stream, and I'm going to use the read method, and I'm going to iterate over my generic download stream, pulling data out of that stream and writing it to disk until the end of the generic download stream is reached. And that'll basically mean by reading that stream I'm going to make calls out to CRM and just download that whole bunch of data. So that really recaps what we did in the original blog post, and we've just changed it very slightly so it's a little bit more generic. Now where the benefit comes in is that I can use that stream for more than just downloading data from CRM now. So what I've also done is I've created an Azure Storage Blob downloader, and the idea here is that I've got a file in Blob storage, and in BizTalk I've passed a pointer to that file, and in the outbound pipeline I want to use this download stream with the Azure Storage downloader to basically pull that blob down, but rather than having the full file go into the message box and out, I'm just going to pull it down on the outbound send pipeline. So if we look here, we implement iDownload again, and I've got some properties such as storage container, storage account, buffer size, blob name. When I construct this class, I'll call the open method, which will go and create my connection to the Azure storage, and it'll open it. It uses this open read method, which will give me a stream pointing to that file in the cloud. And then when my stream gets read, it's going to call into this get next method, and that's going to, on the first read, it's going to set the stream length and how many bytes are remaining, and then I'm going to track through, and I'm just going to pull this down in chunks depending on what the buffer size that was specified when he created the downloader, and it'll pull down it in chunks of the buffer size until we get to the last chunk where it'll just pull whatever's left, and that'll implement a whole download. So you can see that, you know, if I reuse my stream, all I have to write is this code, and suddenly it's downloading from from Azure Blob storage as well as CRM. And if we have a look at how that's implemented in a test, you can see here I've got my properties for the storage container and connection string, and in the setup for the test I've just uploaded a file to blob storage with a bunch of data in it, just an arbitrary file for the test. And in the cleanup method I've just deleted that blob. But the key part is the actual test itself. So here I've created my blob downloader and I've called the open method, and then after that I create my generic download stream, pass it in my blob downloader, and then the code's the same as before. We're going to create a file stream that we're going to write to, and then we're going to iterate over the download stream, executing the read method, and every chunk we pull back we're going to write into the file, and then when we get to the end of the stream, that'll be all of the data from that blob will be downloaded. So if you have a look back in the blog article, so here just shows you how to use the stream, and I've talked previously, and there's another example of code in the blog article that shows you how you would use that within a pipeline component, which is pretty straightforward. You just do exactly what I've done here, but for this kind of top bit, and the only real difference is instead of having this code here writing to a file stream locally, you just replace the BizTalk message body with your stream, with a generic download stream, so that as BizTalk processes the stream and reads it, it'll sort of implement this sort of pull download of the data. So hopefully that should be quite cool and help everybody who may have to implement this pattern be able to just reuse this generic stream and then just implement their own download class. So in theory you could download data from pretty much anywhere you like Dropbox or, you know, Azure storage, CRM, database, whatever you choose to do it with. Cool, thanks.